And hello, good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening to everybody who are with us. Welcome all teachers at the 9th Pan-European Conference of Digital Education. Welcome welcome all the presenters as well. Sorry for my voice, but I just heard myself and I wasn't sure what is that. So that's why I suddenly just look into the camera. So we have a really inspiring program in front of us. I'm sure that everyone has already looked at it at our webpage erasmus+courses.com. We start with the conference at 3 o'clock, but I would like to use those 7 minutes that we have just to greet you all. So to greet all the presenters and greet all the participants, all our teachers that are still into the learning despite they teach all days online. So please write us into the comments from which country you are, where are you from, and say hello to all of you. So with us today, my name is Blanca Tazer and I will moderate this conference. Then we have here Monica Spital from Primera Courses, also a project coordinator. Our keynote speaker today is one of our trainer, Jerneja Šibilja. Hi. And then we have three contributions. The first one will be provided by Gemma. Hello. Hi. Then Irene will follow. Welcome. Yes. And Petra Lepoša, who is also from Primera's team and a trainer of stress management course.
Hello.
Hi. So please tell us something about yourself. I would like to give the word first to Gemma and Irene because all of us others are from the same office actually. So Gemma and Irene are our new friends. So please, Gemma, you will be the first one. Can you tell us something about yourself? What do you teach? Where are you from?
So, good afternoon. Thank you very much for inviting me. I am a teacher in year 5 in a school in Barcelona, which is really, really cool. I teach normally sciences and English, and I am really, really lucky because we have a very nice and resourceful curriculum with lots of technology, and then I like playing a lot of games. So we try to use all our resources on our back.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Irene?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Monica and Blanca, for inviting me and for organizing all of this. I'm Irene De Laurentiis, European Project Manager and Researcher at CEAPE. CEAPE is the Italian Center for Permanent Learning, a cultural association based in Rome, Italy. I'm Italian, and active since 2009 in innovative didactics. So we deal with a very wide target group ranging from very, very young children, aged 0, up to elderly people. So today we will talk about social emotion in action against stereotypes and racism within early childhood education and care environments. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Jerneja.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Jerneja. I come from the most beautiful city in the world, Ljubljana, and I work at 2 institutes. One is ECEC Institute, where currently I'm very active in 2 big projects. One is related with the inclusion of immigrant children into our schools, Slovenian school system. and the other is about primary prevention of violence. And we have workshops and trainings for children in kindergarten, primary school, and secondary school, and of course for teachers also. And then I also work in STEP Institute. So I have the privilege of having a really large team of great people. And here I mostly work on projects, creating workshops, trainings, different activities related with growth mindset, emotional intelligence, and also a little bit of how to encourage teaching entrepreneurship in young people. So I can say that it's never boring, and I'm really happy to share a little bit with all of you today.
And Petra.
Hello, my name is Petra. As Blanca already mentioned, I'm a co-worker from Blanca and Monica. We normally share office, but now we don't share office anymore. Otherwise, I'm a project manager at Primera. I'm working on HR projects. And by side, I am psychotherapist, working with adults with different kind of problems, issues. And today I'm very happy to be with you, and I will try to introduce you some ways or techniques on how to gain some peace again in this uncertain time. So I'm looking forward to it.
Also very much needed. And Monica.
I expected that most of the participants already know me, but still, I'm from Primera. I work as an international course coordinator. Together with my colleagues, we organize these conferences for teachers all across the world. But otherwise, I'm also a trainer of soft skills in STEP Institute and also in Skupina Primera. So I really enjoy psychological topics, which we'll also address today.
Indeed, it's just a really cherry and dessert for us, this conference today, because it's about emotions. And welcome everybody who just joined us. This Pan-European Conference on Digital Education is devoted to all teachers. So if you have a lot of teachers inside your network, please share this conference with them and enable them to get some new knowledge about emotions and how to deal with emotions in a classroom. Today we have a really interesting conference on about emotions. Yes. Why about emotions? Those of you who were with us previous month in the 8th Pan-European Conference, there was a moment that I just got this feeling that it's really important how we address emotions inside the classroom. You know, that was 1 month ago, that was the time when this really cruel accident happened in France, and some of you asked how to deal with emotions, how to work with emotions with yourself, inside yourself, and also with students. So that's why this program in December's conference is devoted to this. Of course, we won't address all the questions, but I think we will open some space for thoughts and even for new ways of working with students. So Jerneja will have a keynote lecture today, and the title is Empathy Goes Online. So she will speak about how to strengthen empathy in distance teaching, which is really important. In distance teaching, we are all two-dimensional, and it's really easier when we work inside the classroom in 3 dimensions, but here we have 2 dimensions, so empathy is maybe even more important now. Then 3 practices will follow. Gemma will introduce us with her contribution what happened when I decided to use the video game Among Us as a motivational strategy in the science classroom. So she is really into the gamification, and she will show us some of this. Irene will present us social emotions in action against prejudice and stereotypes. And in the last part, Petra will act as a surprise or as a gift. We say that because she will actually show us how to get some more peace now in these uncertain times. So her presentation will be much more will include much more of this. How can we deal with ourselves, not with students, but with ourselves, and find some peace now? All right, our clock is already 3. And we will start. We have 1 hour and a half for the conference. So I will give my word to Jerneja. Maybe some of you already know Jerneja if you were one of our Erasmus Plus trainings in Slovenia. Those who know her, I'm sure that you know how much empathy she has inside herself. Sometimes I have this feeling that she only look at me and immediately know what I need. So thank you, Jerneja, for this. And that's why I also have the feeling that she's the right person to talk about the empathy in the classroom. Please, Jerneja, you can share your screen, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Blanca, and thank you also for the compliment and the kind words you just said about me. I try to be empathetic, and I try to strengthen empathy, and I find this topic really important in general. So I'm really happy when I have the opportunity to discuss about it, also with teachers, trainers, and other interested individuals all over Europe. So once again, good day. I'm really proud and grateful to be here with you today, even if it's long distance. And before I share my screen, Blanca already said what my presentation would be about, but before I share my screen, I would invite you to do a short exercise together with me. I will read the instructions, I will share them with you, and I invite you to take a few minutes of this exercise as an opportunity to do like a check-in with yourself, and to somehow dive into the topic that we will be talking about. So I will just start now, and you follow my voice, what I will say, and I hope you enjoy the exercise. So firstly, I invite you to find a comfortable position. You can sit, lie down, whatever feels comfortable for you. If you feel safe, you can close your eyes, or you can just look at one object around you and pay attention to that object without giving it too much of special attention. And then just make few slow, calm, deep breaths. Breathe in, breathe out. Do it in your own pace. 2 or 3 deep breaths will be just fine. Now, I invite you to smile. Slowly, create a smile on your face. And that doesn't need to be a big, wide smile. It can be a kind smile that you would maybe share with a friend or somebody that you care about. Just keep that smile on your face, keep smiling. And then try to feel your lips while you smile. How do they feel? Are they maybe open, closed, touching each other? Warm, cold? Do you maybe show your teeth when you're smiling? Just observe your lips, your mouth, how they are when you smile. Now try to focus your attention to your cheeks. How do they feel when you smile? What do they do? Just observe them. Now, observe other parts of your face, whichever you want. How has the smile affected those parts or that particular part? So if it's difficult to hold the smile for such a long time, it's okay, it's perfectly normal. Just try to smile again and focus your attention to different parts of the face while you're smiling. And how does your body feel when you smile? Can you notice any change in your body? Maybe you can make a bigger smile now. Just observe what happens in your body. If there's nothing there, that's also okay. And now I invite you to again make 1 or 2 deep breaths. Slowly bring your attention back to the computer or phone screen. And open your eyes when you're ready. So if needed, make a gentle stretch or like shake it off a bit. And I hope now you are ready for me to continue. So I will share screen now, and then we will dive deep into empathy. Okay, okay. So this exercise is called Mindful Smiles, and I find it useful mindful activity, as well as a good introduction to the topic of emotions, especially pleasant emotions. And when I feel sometimes in these days that we focus our attention only to unpleasant emotions. So and this exercise, as I just did it can be done, of course, online with kids, with students, and of course also with adults. So I invite you to use it, adapt it if needed. And of course, we will be happy to gain your feedback if you get to try it out also with children and students that you teach. So now let's jump into the world of empathy. And I will be short. I won't be talking too much about theory, but I just wanted to give a framework of the word empathy, how I understand empathy, and in what way will I be talking about it today. So the empathy is the ability to recognize the feelings, the emotions of other people, and being able to also communicate what you have recognized and to check if your understanding of what's happening with them is correct. And the empathy also includes this ability to take perspective. So to somehow go out of your own brain and your understanding of situation and try to understand the perspective of another person, or at least if sometimes it's difficult to understand a perspective of others, but it's okay that we recognize that they have different perspective and that it's valid for them, it's true for them. So this is an important step when we talk about empathy. And of course, it's paired also with this capacity to refrain from judgments, to leave out somehow our prejudices, our opinions, and to take a step back and not try to judge anyone because their perspective or their feelings are different from ours. So empathy is basically like, I like really how Brené Brown explains it. It's about connection. And sometimes I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling of another person, or at least I can imagine, for example, how it is to be sad, even though I don't know what actually sad means for you. But I can connect with something that gives me the experience of sadness, and then it will be easier for me to connect with you. And adding on this framework, when we talk about empathic response, then we talk about our motivation to offer and to provide support. And this is what Blanca said about me. I try to do that. So I try to recognize what's going on and sense that maybe there's a challenge or a problem or stress, and I try to provide support. And I stumbled upon this platinum rule, and I really like it because I think that it really connects with empathy and empathic response. So we know about the rule, treat others the way you want to be treated. And I think that when we discuss empathy, it's important maybe to also add to that or upgrade that rule and talk about treating others the way they want, the way they need to be treated, because this is empathy. So it's not offering advice or finding solutions that I think are useful, but it's supporting another person in the way that they want to be supported, or just allowing them to express emotions or share with us whatever they want. So this is the rule I would invite all of us to have in mind when we think about empathy and discuss it also with others. And then if we continue from, let's imagine we are in the space and we were on planet empathy, and now we go to the planet of emotions. I think that when talking about empathy, we have to start with talking about emotions. And I think I strongly believe in a few key messages that are necessary to somehow go out there, especially to children and youth. And these are the messages that I'm presenting here. So first of all emotions, whether they're pleasant or unpleasant, are okay, because they're useful, they're necessary, they give us valid information, and they can help us. Sometimes they can also help us survive, and they help us grow and play different roles in our lives. So I really like the Inside Out movie because it's the movie that, of course, we can use as a starting point for discussion with children, because it really shows that, for example, if there is no sadness, also joy cannot be part of our life journey, because they complement each other and they can help each other. So this is the first important message that I want to share. And the other is that we all, unless there are some biological, neurological issues, we all feel different emotions. And especially I would like to emphasize here that girls and boys can feel all emotions: fear, sadness, anger, joy, and so on. Because often it happens that, for example, boys are not allowed to be sad because they need to be courageous and they have to be strong. And on the other side, maybe girls are not allowed to be angry because, you know, you have to be gentle and you can cry a lot, but don't show anger. So I believe that first we, the adults, need to deal with our perceptions of who can feel what and in what way. And I think it's important that we talk a lot about emotions to normalize this information that we all have emotions. And emotions are part of us, they are part of our lives, but they do not necessarily define who we are. So if I'm sad, that doesn't mean I'm a crybaby and a sad person all the time, and that this is all that determines me. And of course, it's important to be able to perceive our emotions in our body and being able to connect with our emotions and then recognize them, so label them. So which emotion is that? So this is an important step when strengthening empathy and emotional intelligence. And of course, then in the next steps, we need to learn how to express these emotions in appropriate ways and how to manage them. So this is like two, let's say, frameworks that I would like you to have in mind while when we continue with this presentation. And now I would just like to, before I present a practical activity that we did online, and we do it also face-to-face, just a short reminder, also our emotions are connected with our body sensations, with our thoughts, with our behaviors, and they are really strongly interconnected. And sometimes it feels difficult to somehow separate them, to talk about them in small piles. But I think it's important because especially when the situations are intense, when they're strong, it's good to make these blocks and discuss each block separately. So how to deal with emotion, how to deal with thoughts, behaviors, and our bodily sensations. So this is something I also want to share and to have to invite you to have this circle in mind when talking about emotions and empathy. Of course, I won't spend a lot of time here because I am sure that you know a lot of short different activities or tasks that you can use also online when talking emotions, so that students mark or stand up for the emotion that they are feeling now or they felt yesterday, today during the class, however, to invite them to think about how some characters from the movies or famous people they know would feel or did feel in a certain situation, and maybe like linking my emotion to their emotion, and it's maybe easier to express it that way. And of course, to strengthen also this, to invite them to think about how was their day, what are they grateful for, did they do something kind, because kindness and compassion, of course, go hand in hand with empathy. And such activities, of course, can be also done online. And now the main part, the practical activity I would like to share with you. It's called the empathy map. I first came to know this method actually in trainings related to entrepreneurship, but I really find them very useful also when talking about emotions and empathy with children. And we did this just this month actually, or end of November, we did this empathy map with students in 5th grade. That means they're 10 years old. There were 23 in the classroom, and we did this activity really well. So I am happy to share it also with you. Maybe some of you know it. I will just present how we did it. So basically, what is empathy map? It's a map that has 4 pillars. So thoughts, emotions, words, and actions. And in the middle, you can see the situation that we are discussing. I took the situation that we discussed in our workshops that were related to strengthening social inclusion. And first of all, we invite students to think about the situation when a new classmate comes to their class today, and that girl comes from another country and she doesn't speak the same language. So she doesn't speak Slovenian yet. So when we check that they really understood the situation and they can imagine it, then we ask them first question. And this is the entire empathy map that I'm presenting this. So part 1, we did it via discussion. So everybody was able to share their ideas. So first, then we go step by step. First, we talk about what would the thoughts of that girl could be. Maybe she thinks, I don't know how I will do. Will they accept me? How will I learn if I don't know the language? What will the teacher say? Will they make fun out of me? And so on. So we try to get as many different thoughts as possible. Then we continue to emotions. And what are the emotions that that girl could feel? Maybe she's sad because she misses her old friends. Maybe she's happy because she will meet new friends. Maybe she's worried because she doesn't know how she will do in school, and so on. Again, opening up this world of different emotions that she could experience. And then we think also about what her words or actions could be. So what actually she could say and what she could do. For example, sit down where there's an empty space, or if it's online, distance teaching, maybe she could wave or say hello in her language and so on. So again, we think about different options about words and actions that she could say, she could use. So this is the first part of the empathy map activity. So, and in the reflection time, it's important that we address that, as we can see, she could have different thoughts, different emotions. She could be doing different things, and that also our ideas, what she could say, feel, do, are different. So to wrap up this first part with the discussion, and to check, of course, if pupils understood what was the purpose of this empathy map, and what did they think about it. So this is the first part, and then and it's all we made it as a discussion, like via Zoom. And then we go to the second part of this activity. Again, we are creating an empathy map. The methods and the situations are now a little bit different. So now we give another situation. For example, you have online class and there's a break, and you notice that one of your classmates isn't as cheerful as he usually is. Usually he plays, he smiles, he chats with others during the break. But now today he looks concerned and has teary eyes. So it looks like he wants to cry. So again, we check if pupils can imagine this situation, and then we think about not what would the thoughts and emotions of that boy be, but what could be our thoughts and our emotions. So here we did it for thoughts, we did it in a way that students shared their thoughts. And while they were sharing, of course, we share screen with Word document, and we type their ideas immediately into the document. So the empathy map at the end is full of ideas of pupils. So first they share what would their thoughts be. And then in the second part, they share how would they feel. And here we invited them to share their emotions in chat. So it's a bit different. It's not only discussion, but now we invited them to share in chat, and we copy pasted then into this block of emotions. And then we didn't speak about our words and our actions, what could they be, but we upgraded in a way that we invited them to share what could their words and their actions be if they would be empathic. So what would an empathic response from their side look like? And here we put them into smaller groups. We use the breakout rooms in Zoom, and we tried to join all groups because we were more 2 trainers, so that was possible. And we encouraged them to really think, how could they provide support? How could they be how could they show empathy, that they would really try to help that schoolmate who is concerned and looks like he is going to cry. And then when we come back to the big group, then each group shares what would be the words, what would be their actions to be empathic. And of course, if there are some ideas that maybe don't go in the empathic way, we try to invite them to think how could they change it so that it's actually related with empathy. And then, of course, as in the first part, we have a group discussion. Why is this important? How can we use empathy map? Which are the situations we could imagine, and how could we use this individually or together as a class? So this activity can be like a stepping stone for further discussion or further activities that you do with children. Of course, some discussion about emotions and empathy needs to be done before, so that they understand the concept and have sense of why we are doing that. This is really important. So not just to do activity, just to do it, but to help pupils see the purpose, and to so that they also share how they find it useful to build connections, to build empathy in the classroom. So this is the practical activity that totally can be done online, and I hope that it was clear enough how I presented it. If not, of course, Monica can share my email in chat, and you're welcome to contact me or to contact also Blanca, Monica. They also know this activity, so we are happy to provide additional information if needed. My time is running out shortly, so I will now I would like to continue and maybe just share quick additional ideas that I either tried face-to-face, some of them online, or I have found them online and I thought they were really interesting, and I want to share them with you today. So this board of mine includes simple activities like observing your colleague. This, like Blanca said, we are two-dimensional now, and this can be a bigger challenge than face-to-face because you don't see the whole body and all the details maybe on our faces, but it can be done online, and it really invites us, I think, even more in like paying attention and really listening and watching who's on the screen with me. So, and when we talk about emotions and empathy, of course, we link that this activity with observing the mood of the person, which emotions do they express, how do they express them, where do they show them, and so on. And maybe in smaller groups, we can do activities truth or lie, when they have to say some true story or a story that's a lie. And then, of course, again, we pay attention, we observe, and we try then open up the discussion of importance of nonverbal communication, paying attention, active listening. So all the skills that are related with empathy. There's a very good quiz that is useful for adults and also for younger people, children also. We did it in that workshop I was mentioning. So this is the link, and I invite you to check how well do you recognize the emotions. Of course, use a lot of stories, movies, photos, videos, drawings. Be creative also when talking and discussing emotions. And when we do workshops with the little ones for a kindness curriculum, we do a kindness garden. So we create, actually, like on this photo on your screen, a garden of flowers that have different kind actions that we do for either ourselves or others. And we can then, with this activity, strengthen this our kindness, our compassion towards others. I found also rocks of kindness on the internet, where pupils colored the rocks, and they, for example, put them in front of the school, and they wrote encouraging positive messages on those rocks, and everybody who needed a boost of positivity was able to collect that rock. Or you can turn it around a bit, and you can, for each kind action that I do, I create the stone, the rock, and then I put that stone in the designated space. And maybe this is something that you can also do now, even though we are not face-to-face. But if you come from the same city, town, especially if it's a small one, and you know where the school is, of course, you can bring rock there. So maybe by the end of Corona time, we will have a big pile of kind stones, kind rocks that will also help us build empathy and be more kind. And invite pupils or do an activity where you actually talk with emotions. So like, hello, sadness. How are you today? What's happening? What do you need? Is there something that I can offer that could help you? So that we take a step back a little bit, distance ourselves from emotions, and turn it into a playful activity where we can, again, discuss different aspects of emotions. And for the older children, this A-E-I-O-U-Y activity, and this is just like questions that are for self-reflection, and then, of course, based on that, you can lead the discussion. This is, of course, a bit more appropriate for older children, so maybe at the end of primary school, so 11 to 14, and of course then in secondary school, or with adults. So maybe this is not for kids in kindergarten. And to conclude, just some I started with some key messages, and I would like to finish with them and invite you. I won't read all of them because you can see the slides, but I would just invite you to really, as teachers, as parents or neighbors, whatever roles you have, I strongly believe that we can all create and provide opportunities for strengthening empathy, for practicing compassion, kindness, and gratitude, because this, in my opinion, is really important long term, if you want to a society where we won't be just each individual separate, but if you want to live as a well-connected community that's able to help one another and grow in a what I believe the right way in the future. Don't be pushy, take it step by step. Maybe these parts that I was presenting can help you with that. Try to find inspiration because there are a lot of stories of empathic people out there who can really give us a boost and to think, how can I be more empathic also? And praise children not just for helping, and don't praise just their behavior, but try to praise them for being an empathic person or being a helpful person, so that it's not just behavior that is the focus of our feedback, but it's also like, of course, I said we are not only our emotions, but if I'm an empathic person, that means a lot of different things, and it can help me in different ways in my life. And now to conclude, I would like to bring attention to pleasant emotions, because in these times, I think we especially need them. And the good news is that we can strengthen these pleasant emotions, and we can create opportunities to feel them. And I would like to conclude with an invitation that Monica will actually help me with this when it comes to Mentimeter and technical assistance. Monica is the best. So I will invite you to think which pleasant emotion would you like to feel more in the following days or during the holidays. So which is that one or two maybe pleasant emotions that you really want to feel, and that you're willing to create opportunities for yourself and also others around you to feel that pleasant emotion. And it can be any kind of emotions, and Monica will share Mentimeter link with you, and I will stop sharing now. So I'm back like this, and I invite you to open the link and share with us also what's the pleasant emotion you will strengthen in the following days.
Thank you, Jerneja, very much. There are many thank you messages in the chat already. And I am especially grateful that you told us that there are pleasant and unpleasant emotions, but that all of them are useful. Because sometimes I have the feeling that we are a little bit judgy about the unpleasant emotions, such as sadness or anger. But as you said, all the emotions have an information inside, so we have to consider them. And thank you that you put this out. And yeah, I see this cloud is already making. So in next day, I will create opportunities for joy, relax, less desperate, creative, understanding, happiness, interested, calmness, empathy. Dear participants, please also ask questions to Jerneja. There is already one question in the chat. Nikolai is suggesting a new term, which is emotional dyslexia. And she refers to the situation, maybe you can, Jerneja, comment this, that sometimes we don't know that maybe one of our students has dyslexia and we judge them. But maybe we can have the same term when we as teachers do not know how to work with emotions of students, that maybe then we have emotional dyslexia.
Yes, thank you, Blanca, and thank you also for this comment and this suggestion. I really find it in a way amusing, and I would agree that it exists. And for me, it's not only, I don't understand it only in a way that there is like a mismatch or the misunderstanding of what I feel and maybe what others perceive that I feel. But emotional dyslexia for me means also in what way do I then communicate with the person, for example, who has a difficult situation? And I mentioned earlier, so that this platinum rule. And I think that if we don't follow this platinum rule of treating the other as that person wants to be treated, this can be then the opportunity for emotional dyslexia, because I have my own perceptions, I have my own thoughts, I have my own emotions, and I might, of course, also my own ideas, how to provide support, how to offer help. And if I say, well, it sounds like you have this problem and you look sad, and then I think that you should be doing this and this and this, that will probably build a wall between the two persons, because I am if I would do it like that, I wouldn't actually not even take a moment to say, oof, it looks like this is difficult for you. What's going on actually? Or what do you need now? How can I help? Or maybe even sometimes I have to remind myself also that because I want to help, but I forget that maybe people don't want to get the support and the assistance or the help. So if I do something without checking in with another person, either it's with their thoughts or emotions or whatever, then I think this is how I understand emotional dyslexia. This short, not cut, karate stick, I lost the English word. So these issues and problems that occur because we don't actually pay attention. We are not actually in touch with our own empathy level, or we don't know how to be. Sometimes this is also what can happen, and it's okay, but we don't know how to stop, how to say, okay, step back, oof, let's think about this situation together. I'm here, I can help you. So to avoid, or to not avoid, but try to manage this emotional dyslexia is really a topic we could be talking about, topic we could be discussing all day long.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there will be much possibilities still, because we have quite a lot of projects about emotions. So I'm sure that also some of the following conferences will be devoted to growth mindset, to emotions, and to other interesting topics as well. Thank you, Jerneja. It was a really great presentation, and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. And I wave to everyone all over the Europe.
So next we are going to Gemma. So Gemma will introduce us a video game, Among Us. That's the title of the game, isn't it? Yeah, Among Us. Yes. You can turn your microphone on. So she used a video game, Among Us, as a motivational strategy in a science classroom. So Gemma is a bilingual primary teacher in the Global Quality Schools in Barcelona. And she recently started with her PhD studies on education. So I think that we will hear more about you now and also in future times. So thank you, and the floor is yours. Please introduce us your topic.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this lovely keynote also. I enjoyed it very, very much. Firstly, I would like to introduce you to what Among Us is. I don't know if everybody has played this game. It's a video game that is now very common amongst the kids in my school. It was very natural the way I found it. I had never ever come across this game, and it was only when I saw some children who were drawing some very cute like monsters, and I thought, what's that? And so they told me that it was this video game Among Us. The objective of the game is that there are 10 people in a spaceship and all the doors are locked. And so they are doing some missions, and suddenly some of the people start disappearing, and they then discuss who could have been the person who is an imposter in the game. And so I took this idea and I put it inside my classroom. Let's find out who are the imposters of the science classroom. This is, I don't know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Fantastic, thank you. So basically, this is what I want to tell you today. What happened when I decided to use this video game Among Us in my science classroom. This is a very, very long project. It took us 3 months to work on it, but I am only going to teach you, to show you a little bit of it, specifically what it has to do with the actual game Among Us in the classroom. So we didn't actually play the real game, because the real game, which is online, has to be played with the phone, and we don't allow children to bring their phone into the classroom. But we found another way. However, before we continue, I would like to mention something that I think it's pretty important, which is that normally, in order to motivate children, we've always played games in our classrooms. Playing means that there are some short-term objectives that we can accomplish, some language skills. It's a big emotional tool, a motivational strategy. You learn socially from others by doing this. You can relate it to content, but what I am presenting you is something called gamification, which is not exactly the same as playing a game. Playing a game is something that we do eventually in a class, whereas a gamification is a whole project in which we actually plan the objectives that we want to accomplish, and we assess them basing them in our project. And so it provides with long-term motivation, and we can relate it to long-term objectives and curricular contents. And so this is what I did. The first thing I did was to take this game and create a story. This story can be seen on this QR code. The video was so long, I decided to just give it to you. And so if you wanted to check it, you could. I made this video on an app called Explain Everything, and it's really nice. But the whole story is actually about some scientists who are asked to join this amazing association, this organization, which is a scientific organization, and they are looking to find for all these imposters in science who think that the climate change and global warming and all these phenomena are unreal. And so the way we did it was by doing some missions and by learning about lots of things. And eventually we would play this game that you see on the right. This is exactly what Among Us looks like. However, I did this on an app which is called Deck Toys. If you scan this QR code, you can go to the real Deck Toys that I created. And in this game, children were actually going into the class, moving So this also was a very intense motivational strategy, because moving, it's only obvious that moving and kinesthetic activities activate loads their imagination and their motivation, and it was really incredible the way they participated in the classroom. So as I told you, a gamification project has a reward system, and what I did was to create a rubric in which all these items were to be accomplished every time they did an activity, and it was up to one of these levels. If it was beginner, for example, they would get a biker's hat, and as they grew, as they were doing it better and better, they were getting better badges. And that was an incredible motivational strategy, the way they wanted to work, because they had this external reward at the same time they were learning. At the same time, of course, we were doing lots of experiments and we were going out. So this was happening parallel to a learning process, which was very deep. I leave you here with some pictures of the way they were working on the project. As you can see, all children have an iPad in my classroom. All the children were carrying this badge, the scientific badge that they created when they joined the organization. And in the pictures, you can also see them doing some tasks and moving from one place to the other. And yeah. So basically what happened when I decided to use the Among Us video game is that more and more I had the question of, can we play Among Us? Which for me actually meant, can we play science? Because the video game that they created was only a video game in which they were practicing science and the science curriculum. So I have it here so you can take a look at it if you didn't have the time. No. Sorry, I don't know what happened here. Tech2 is a really good platform for creating online games. If you click on Among Us 1, I don't know what happened there. This will appear. This is the actual video game they were playing. It gives you points, so you can play with other children. Every time you do an activity, it will give you more points. You will have all the children who are playing at the same time, and they can challenge each other while they're working on it. So all these missions that you can see here are different science activities that they had to work on. And that's the way we revised contents that were related to biology and geology and different characteristics. So I don't know if you have any questions, but hello?
Yeah. Okay, it's the end, yeah?
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, okay, yeah.
I couldn't see how to get out from the screen.
That was, I thought that you want to show us something additional. Okay. Okay. No,
I just want to say that this is a very long project. I only showed like a very short activity that we do within a very long project, but since we didn't have that much time, I thought that it was much nicer to just show one activity, very concrete, and I hope you enjoyed it and you liked it.
Of course, it seems to me that it's a lot of interactivity included, and it's very inspiring because it addresses student motivation. that's why it's really great to work with that. And there are again many comments like great presentation. Snezhana is telling us excellent idea, Gemma. I will do the same in my class since all of my students adore this game. Great. There are no questions so far. So if anything emerges, then please ask us as soon as possible, because Gemma has to go. She has online teaching now, right? Okay. Thank you once again. And we move then next to Irene De Laurentiis. So Irene is from Chiappe, which is an Italian-based NGO specialized for European projects. And Irene is a team member who is specialized in social inclusion area, and she's responsible for projects in that field. Today, she will present us a social emotions in action against prejudice and stereotypes. Very interesting topics. I'm looking forward. Please, Irene.
Thank you. Maybe before launching my presentation, Monica, do you want to share the question via Mentimeter so that we brainstorm a little bit with the participants to the conference? I also see one question for Gemma. I don't know if you want to take this opportunity to answer, because you don't have time later on.
Yeah, great, Irene. Gemma, can you answer maybe to this question quickly? Can we apply this to young pupils, 4th grade, so like 10 years?
I am doing this with year 5 students. So my answer is yes. It depends on the level of expectation of the children. And of course, you have to adapt the content. But my results from this project have been very, very incredible. So yes, I absolutely encourage teachers to try and use gamification in their classes.
Great. And we are back to Irene.
Yeah. Okay, so someone is already answering the question, which is, what does the ECEC acronym mean? So that we can start from clarifying the environment, the context of my presentation. Okay. Wow, it seems like you don't need my presentation, but I will deliver it anyway. Okay. Great, thank you, Monica, for supporting this. I will share my screen. Okay. I think you can see my screen. So the question was correctly answered. ECEC is the acronym for Early Childhood Education and Care, which refers to any regulated arrangement that provides education and care for children from birth to compulsory primary school age. ECEC is increasingly acknowledged as providing the foundation for lifelong learning and development, both personal and societal development. We have a lot of documents, policy documents, both at the European level and the national one, which confirm that children have the right to affordable and inclusive and good quality early childhood education and care. And this is why Chiappe decided to coordinate this project called Diversity Plus in order to improve in an inclusive sense the ECEC context, and to leverage on the potential of social emotion to put them in action against prejudices and stereotypes. ECEC facilities, approaches and services have not always been designed to meet the pluralistic needs of all children. This is the ratio behind the Diversity Plus project. This can be seen in the fact that minority groups, vulnerable groups are underrepresented in ECEC services. The problem with this approach is also that it leaves ECEC professionals unsure about how to develop services which are inclusive for the full range of vulnerabilities. And this is why our project looks to develop governance, benchmarking, recognition, and professionalization tools for early childhood education and care professionals. What I want to stress from the beginning is that this is not a good practice in a stricto sensu, because we launched this project only 2 months ago, but this has a good potential to become a co-created good practices, also together with you. So thanks to your contribution, in order to understand together what is the state of the art and improve the current approach to diversity inclusion under the light of high quality lifelong learning provision from a very early age. The toolkit we will develop in the frame of this project represent a top-down approach which will allow ECEC organization to fully understand how different identities and needs fit into their services, and so to develop approaches which are fully inclusive for all. These are the 4 tools we will develop during the 3 years project implementation. They will be freely available for staff of ECEC, so schools, but also non-formal and informal organizations providing services for very young children from 0 to 5 years old. First of all, we have a Diversity Plus Charter, which is meant for ECEC directors, so school heads, etc., to keep up to date with the different provisions to conform to in order to consider their service as diversity positive, and create governance approaches to diversity inclusion, which are benchmarked against robust quality requirements. Then we have a footprint assessment tool to support ECEC officers to assess current service and mostly understand in a visual way the concrete necessary steps needed to improve their provision. We will also provide additional learning resources in order to ease this path. Then we will create a profile, European qualification framework for diversity ambassador in ECEC environment in order to identify key skills, knowledge, and attitudes which are required to respond to individual and group needs, taking into consideration, most of all, the vulnerabilities and those aspects of groups and individuals that put them at risk of social exclusion. Finally, the tool on which I would like to focus your attention is this serious game for ECEC educators and assistants. Because this will help us to understand the methodology we have in mind while designing this tool, which is social emotional learning. We would like to help ECEC educators and also assistants to understand how to take the most of social emotional learning in their work with children aged 3 to 5. Concretely, ECEC staff will be able to help children in recognizing and challenging bias rather than internalizing them, and to place a positive value on differences and to treat all people with respect. I would like to spend a few more words about this latter tool because I think it's a good example of how digital meets emotions and together will allow strengthening the inclusion potential of children aged 3 to 5. We choose the serious game format because the scientific literature confirms that it guarantees intrinsic motivation, generates cognitive conflicts, and provides situated learning. Situated learning is an immersive learning experience that we want to provide to ECEC professionals in the context of a number of scenarios built around common situations arising in everyday dynamics related to discrimination, racism, bias, stereotypes. Think, for example, to ethnicities, gender, physical abilities, linguistic barriers, etc. Learning occurs through experience as players immerse themselves in the game context and make decisions in the first person in order to tackle everyday life challenges through solidarity, empathy, mutual respect, and awareness. The result consists in the ability of trained staff to take the most of social emotional learning. This will be done with children, so children will be indirect. We will get indirect benefit from this tool and this approach, contributing to teach them life skills, the so-called transversal skills, for example, empathy, of course, communication, solidarity, but also teamwork, problem solving, the ability to cooperate and collaborate, nonviolent communication, and so on and so forth. This will help children to deal with oneself, others, and with relationships. So to benefit both individual development, as I was saying at the beginning, and also future societies in Europe and beyond. This will, of course, work in the case of this project towards the inclusion of differences and individual needs of most vulnerable groups. As I said at the beginning, we are just launching this design phase, the design phase of this tool, and we would like to start from a research of the best practices, the excellences which already exist, and maybe you can report us and represent. This is why I'm also here to share with you the opportunity to co-create the tools I'm presenting, because I think that together we could produce something which is very holistic and very meaningful, both for our everyday job and for your everyday job. So I'm sharing with you this call to action, asking you to share good practices in the form of inclusive services for ECEC. For example, if you know organization or institution or schools using already social emotional learning with this light of inclusion in ECEC, please write an email to opportunities@chape.it. This is my email, because we would really like to give them visibility and to build on them towards the effective and fruitful implementation of this project. Thank you. I know that Monica has another Mentimeter for us, which will be also quite useful in order to shape together which is your perception of an inclusive ECEC environment. And the question is, which are the 3 key features of a diversity positive ECEC provision in your opinion?
We have tolerance, acceptance, respect, right? We will wait a little bit for the others to respond. And thank you also for your call to action. So if any one of you has a good practice on social emotions, please share it. You can either send it to Irene@chape or if it's easier for you just to upload on the Pan-European Conference on Digital Education, this is a Facebook group, we will also send your best practice to CIAPE, because we also work with them. So whatever is easier for you. In any case, you know, if you have a valuable practice, why not share it with others so that also other children can benefit from your practice? Social emotions are a very interesting topic and sometimes neglected. And it's really valuable to work with such small children, because that's the meaning then for the whole life if we start in early childhood education regarding the racism, stereotypes and prejudice.
Yeah,
okay.
And it's, I think, crucial to start from the very early age, because it's since this age, from 2 or 3 years old, that these stereotypes start taking place in their mind and in their behavior. So it's really important to tackle them since the very beginning. For a specific approach, the problem is very often, as I said, that ECEC professionals are not so focused on this specific topic of inclusion. So very often they deal with specific vulnerabilities, for example, physical ones or linguistic barriers, but are not yet ready. It's not so common to have them ready to tackle with a whole range of differences children can bring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So do we have any questions? And a question is by Jana. How would you deal with family members' influence? So, of course, teachers can do a lot, but then there is a family also. Do you have any comment about that?
Yeah, from our first brainstorming we had with other organizations participating in the implementation of this project, we had one key aspect for the successful implementation of this kind of path within ECEC environment, which is precisely the involvement of parental groups. So it's absolutely needed when dealing with these very young people to involve also their families, because very, very often they are, when they belong to groups at risk of social or economic exclusion, like Roma people, etc., they are not so aware about the importance of this learning period for their children. So they need to be sensitized about this, and it's absolutely needed to dialogue with them, with families.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you. That was the question, and we have no more questions, but we have many thank you messages. And it was really thank you and good luck with the project, and I'm looking forward to results, and I hope you will again share them with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Before I give my word to Petra, I would like to take this opportunity to invite you to the 10th Pan-European Conference on Digital Education, which will be on 28th of January next year. In January, an international consortium of project partners will present Erasmus Plus project, Our Solar Town. So Our Solar Town. In this project, partners have developed learning and teaching materials with instruction, with hands-on experiments to learn about solar thermal systems and technology. I'm sure that science teachers are enthusiastic and already planning the conference date in your calendar. But please, this conference is not only for science teachers, because the aim of this group is to bring science to all teachers, so that we all, even if we teach other subjects such as languages or maybe philosophy, that we teach it through science. And I'm sure you will get interesting ideas how to design experiments in your classroom when you will see this contribution in the 10th Pan-European Education, Pan-European Conference on Digital Education. And also from January on, the materials will be ready to use, and school will be also invited to enter a competition for Solar Award. I would also like to show you a short video about that. So just a moment, I will share this with you. Okay.
Our sun is the biggest source of energy. Would you like to explore with your class how to capture its enormous power? Currently, the best method is to use solar thermal collectors to produce heat. Would you like to share knowledge about solar thermal energy and renewable energies? Maybe you even want to build your own solar thermal collector with your class? Then, our Solar Town is just the right thing for you. At www.solartown.eu, you will find teaching materials and tools for your own Solar Town project. Materials are available in English language and others. Take part in the Our Solar Town Award and win prizes in the value of €500 for your class.
So there will be a special conference on this Solar Town, 28th of January, and there will be also a competition among schools, which you all are invited to both the competition and the conference. And, okay, so now I will give my word to Petra Lepoša. So Petra Lepoša is our co-worker. She is a project manager, but also a psychotherapist. And she is a trainer for a stress management course. You are also invited not only to the on-site training, but also to online training, which we have, and she leads it in February. It's called Well-Being in Uncertain Times. In this training, you will gain understanding of what happens psychologically and neurologically when we perceive something as a threat. You will explore this within yourself, but also with students. You will learn about your internal process, get new ideas on how you can take care of yourselves and re-establish your well-being despite uncertain times, because you know how it is. If your glass is empty, then you cannot also help your children or your students. So we have to take care of ourselves in order to be prepared for helping students. And you will get a lot of mindfulness exercises and meditation. And despite this training is online, you will still experience a lot of exercises. In some cases, maybe it will be even better opportunity to be present in online than on-site. That's everything that will be included in well-being in uncertain times. So if you want to apply for this training, just go to our webpage, erasmuspluscourses.com, and you find the training there. And Petra will have now a presentation about how to gain back some peace in these uncertain times. So this will be actually not presentation as a presentation, but something that you can do for your soul right now. Isn't this so, Petra?
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Blanca, for very detailed presentation and nice words. My presentation is is set in very practical way, because I didn't want to use this few minutes that I have only for theory. I wanted to make it as practical as possible. And I was very curious about your answers on Jerneja's question about which emotion or which state you would like to give more opportunity in future days. And I saw that being relaxed was among of the most wished emotional and physical states. So this is telling me how much we need to take care of ourselves and take care for our well-being. And as Blanca said, we cannot, or it is very difficult to help others to deal with emotions of our students, of the children, if we are not okay and in peace with ourselves. So I prepared a short exercise which is focusing on our breathing, because I believe we all have some activities that help us to gain peace, to relax, to feel better. But sometimes we say, oh, I don't have time, now I cannot go out, now I cannot meet people. But actually, we have also one tool which is very easily available to us. And this is breathing. So this exercise that we will do is focused on breathing. And with breathing, we don't have so much opportunity to say, oh, I don't have time, I cannot reach it, because it's always there. This exercise is meant for you, but if you think it's appropriate, you can also try to use it with your students, with your children. So I would like to invite you for this short meditation to find a comfortable position in your chair or wherever you sit, on the cushion, wherever you are. But try to sit with your spine straight. And if possible, let your spine be supported. And your feet are flat on the floor and your hands are resting in your lap. And if this feels okay, you can gently close your eyes. But if closing your eyes is not comfortable, then just find a spot somewhere in front of you, maybe on the wall or somewhere else, and let your eyes gently rest on this spot. In the next few minutes, allow yourself to switch from the usual mode of doing to a mode of non-doing, of simply being. There is no direction about how you should feel or what you should experience during this exercise. Therefore, let your experience be as it is, from moment to moment. Just observe with curiosity and acceptance whatever comes into your awareness. So now, as you allow your body to become still, bring your attention to the fact that you are breathing. Pay attention to where you notice your breath most easily. Some people feel it at the nostrils, perhaps as a cold breeze on the upper lip. Others can feel it in the chest, rise as rising and falling. And others feel the breath most clearly in the abdomen, as the belly expands with every in-breath and contracts with every out-breath. Gently explore your body and discover where your breathing is easiest to notice for you. not manipulating the breath in any way or trying to change it. Simply be aware of it and of the feelings associated with breathing. Being totally here in each moment with each breath. Not trying to do anything, not trying to get any place, simply being with your breath. You may notice that after a while your mind will wander off into thoughts, fantasies, anticipations, memories, whatever. When you notice that your attention is no longer here and no longer with your breathing, without judging yourself, bring your attention back to your breath and follow again the waves of your breathing, fully aware of the duration of each breath from moment to moment. Being totally here in each moment with each breath, not trying to do anything, not trying to get any place, simply being with your breath. If this feels comfortable, I invite you now to put your hand on your heart for a moment to remind yourself that you will be giving a kind attention to your breath. Just be aware how your breath nourishes you, whether you're paying attention to it or not. It is with you from birth until death, more loyal than your closest companion. Allow yourself to appreciate this automatic process that sustains your life wherever you go. And see if you can turn toward your breathing and look at it like a mother that looks her beloved child with a lot of love and gratitude. And rest in this experience of gratitude in your body for a moment. As we come close to the end of this exercise, you might also thank to yourself for having spent this time at this conference and at this practice. Thank you for trying so much to get new knowledge, but also took time to nourish yourself with this short meditation in a deep way, letting go of possible tensions or worries. And as you may move back into the world, allow the benefits of this practice to expand into every aspect of your life. In your own pace, slowly, when you are ready, you can open your eyes. Okay, welcome back. Is there any question or comment, feedback?
We were meditating so intensively. We cannot, meditate and then ask questions in the same time.
This is good sign.
It's a good sign, yes, I know. But I'm sure that people will ask questions now. So please ask questions if you have any. And thank you, Petra. Actually, this was our New Year gift to all of you. Our wish that you take care of yourself and take care of others. And that's not all. Petra also record a video for you about
audio
about this meditating exercise. So a special gift is really something useful for the holiday season. So all of you who have applied for the certificate and the conference will receive an email with the recording of Petra's mindfulness exercise. So you can easily relax. If you want, you can even use it with your students. Okay, so now people started to comment, like, great presentation, very useful ideas. It was a wonderful meditation. Thank you, Petra, and thank you to all of you.
Thank you all. And as mentioned from Blanca, welcome to our courses related with well-being in uncertain times.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, one comment is also that you have a perfect voice for meditation.
Thank you.
Okay, so I would just like to wish you happy holidays. Please, I know that the circumstances are not great for celebration, but actually you can create this celebration inside your soul and with your dearest. So please take care of yourselves. Maybe this year is really different. And of course, we all feel a little bit uncertain during these times, and especially for teachers teaching in online, which for many of you is really like more than half a year now, is really stressful. So I really wish you to find this peace inside of you and take time to take care of yourself. Thank you very much for today's participation, and goodbye. We see you on January.